Hey everybody, this is Ann. Hello, hello, hello. Can I please get some people typing that you can hear me and see my screen that says Manage Private Networks? If you can hear me, will y'all please say I can hear you? Hi, Ann. Okay, guys, great. So we've just had kind of a comedy of errors. So I'm going to start off with an apology. And the apology goes like this. First and foremost, Keith, who released the PBN to really talk about how he uses GSA Money Robot, had to go to the hospital. So he's in England, and we changed the time of the intermediate boot camp to today because it's actually 10 p.m. there, but he couldn't participate. He's in the hospital. So I want to start with asking everybody, if you believe in that, to please say a prayer for him. He's very, very sick. Second of all, I was going to interview him about his course. And Roger, I hope he's okay too. He's having some pretty serious neurological things happening, but he's a great guy and we're great friends. So I'm sure as soon as we hear more, we'll be able to respond. So that you guys can know, we had moved the webinar to today for an interview with him because we were going to talk about and really get into PBNs. But he's not here, so you're stuck with yours truly. And I want to go over some things that we've not released yet. And I want to show you guys because I'm going to actually make some videos of exactly how to do some of the things I'm going to talk about today. This webinar is specifically, although there will be help videos, this is going to be on something that has not yet been released of how you can manage and build your own PBN and the power of Dory's tool in doing that. So the first thing I want to know is, can everybody see my screen? If you can, you're going to see something that says Manage Private Networks. This will not be available to you until tomorrow, but I want to show it to you anyway. So for those of you who can see it, we all just say, hey, I got it. I can see it. Okay. People are saying, yes, I can. So we've got, really, this is kind of a small webinar. 1,001 people were registered, so we've got 26 attendees. So I think we can really kind of personalize this and really answer some specific questions, because I think those of you who are here understand or have seen some of Keith's course, and it's about really understanding linking and some of the powers of building networks. And I had gone over a thing called PBN 101, and I think a lot of you are already on that. So what I want to start with is, when you see this Manage Private Networks, this is here because what we're actually going to do is show you how to create your own network. Again, I want to tell you there's no videos on this, and you will eventually see it over here. You just won't see it now. And for those of you who are pretty savvy, who think you can go back in and do whatever you want to it, if you do that, you're not going to be able to have access to it because it has to be released in a certain way. So I just wanted to show you guys that and tell you very, very clearly that as I go through this, I've got the questions open. And I'm going to try and kind of play double duty and answer questions as I go through this. So what's kind of cool about this is it allows you to create a private network. If you guys have any feedback about the actual layout of this, I'd be interested in hearing it before we release it tomorrow. But I'm kind of going to go through this and just kind of explain as I go. So anytime you see a read more, we always suggest you read more. This is designed to be flexible. Anytime you're going to want to move a domain, or you're going to change your domain to a new hosting provider, you're going to have to let our staff know. So one of the cool things is that if you move hosts, you can actually take your PBNs with you. It's just going to take us some back-end maneuvering. So that's why this little note is here. Second, you're going to name a network. So for this, I'm going to call this, I'm let's just call it test for serious students. How's that? That's what I think you guys are, serious students. And when you do this, this is how you're creating your network name. Now you have to go in and you have to put in your domain name. So as you can see here, there's a thing that says yoursite.com. You have to put in your SQL username, your SQL password name, and your SQL database. So one of the first things that people usually say to me is, what the heck are these three pieces and why does it matter? So we have to kind of go a little backwards. And I want to just ask you to be patient with me as I go through this. We're going to have an hour together, and I promise I will answer every single question till we're done. So if you were to put in a domain name, for example, Seal Beach SEO, because you guys all know that I use that as a test site, where you would get the MySQL user. So there's a couple of ways that you can get information. So just so that everybody knows, if you were to go to any website at all that you have set up on a cPanel, and I don't want to pretend to know what your host is, where you hosted, how you hosted, but each cPanel usually looks different. And do you see, because I've done this before, it automatically gives me the / cPanel. And if I set that up, it automatically is going to, it says login attempt failed, but yours won't say that. But it automatically is going to take me into Seal Beach SEO. I want to just slow my roll for a minute. And can I get a yeah, I can see this? Okay, Paul, I see finally advanced training. Did you see Keith's course this week? His stuff is so advanced. So I hope you guys saw, because that was released yesterday. But it looks like everybody can see it. So when you've logged in, the place that you would think that you would go to get SQL information would be to go to MySQL, but it's not. And I want to be really clear with you. When you go to MySQL, let me just kind of find it in this one, database tools. If you go in here, this will reset your password, or you can see what all of your information is right here. Like you can go in and get it. But when you go to look at your SQL databases, just so that everybody can kind of see with me, it's not going to show you your password. So where do you get a password once you've already set up a WordPress site? So everybody should be taking notes on this, and it's going to be kind of hard because I've got to kind of hide the screen a little bit so that I don't give all of my information to everybody at once. But what you basically want to do is, wherever you're hosting, you want to find this file that's called File Manager. So I'm going to wait and ask everybody to say, I get it, I get it. We're going to go into our cPanel and get File Manager. Can I get a yep, I understand? Let's see here. Roger is saying, makes sense. My sites are built in Dreamweaver. Is that a problem? It's not a problem at all, Roger, but you have to be able to give access. So I will explain as we go through this, and this will help you a lot. So for Roger Schroeder in particular, I want to tell you that when you're in this area, when we release it, you built it in Dreamweaver, but does that mean that you have a database or not? Because the only way this tool works with a PBN is to be able to have your SQL user. So you need to know if that's there or not. So when you're in the back end, you're going to click on File Manager. When you click on File Manager, usually the default will be to take you to the public FTP route. It doesn't really matter where you go, because you'll see what I mean, because it's going to give you a directory. So when you go into the back end, you're going to get this public HTML. If you land on FTP or something and you don't see it, you're just going to want to go till you can highlight this public HTML. Now, Roger, just to kind of stay with you, As long as I see you do have a database. Okay, so wherever you get your information, it's just going to be a little different for you. But as the course, we've been talking about really building this in WordPress. And what you're going to want to do, it doesn't matter if you built it in HTML and Joomla and anything. The point of this is, how do you get your SQL information? And I'm showing you that for a WordPress site. So when you're in, you're going to look at this file right here. Whoa, let's not get crazy, Primazon. Called wp-config.php. And what you want to do is you want to right click. Now, it's an interesting thing, because this is very important. When you right click on this, you don't need to edit it, you don't need to code edit it, you don't need to move it. All you need to do is view it. And when you view that file, it will automatically answer these 3 questions. It'll give you your SQL username, your SQL password, and your SQL database. So, in essence, you put the name of your site, your SQL user, your SQL password, and your SQL database. So, I'm going to have videos that go over this, but I want you to see that specifically. So if anybody has any questions, I'm going to go over it one more time. You're going to go to your cPanel. You're going to click on File Manager. You're going to go to WP Config, and you're going to view that file, and it will be at the top. Okay, but bam, we're moving on. Let me just close out of this really quick. After you have that information, you're going to be back into this area, and you're going to see, and my programmer put this to show steps here. I think I want to make this to have this not be hidden, because this is a step that has to be done. And what this does is it gives you the ability, once you create your campaign on the other side to publish articles, it gives you the ability to be able to navigate in and out of the host. So it just gives us permission to push. We can't edit your site. We can't do anything. It's just the articles that you're going to want to post are going to be there. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. But to add this to your host file, all you would do is you would click, see how there's 2 IP addresses, the 207 and the 199. You basically are going to copy this. And when you're in this area, you go down to where we saw the MySQL stuff, and you will see on here Remote MySQL. So I'm just going to come back over here again, and I'm just going to show the steps to make sure you've allowed Page One Engine access. You're going to log into your cPanel, navigate to databases, click on Remote MySQL, and you're going to add this host. And just so that you can kind of get a real picture of what this looks like, I've already added these to this particular site. But if I was to remove it, which I can really quick, and then I'll go back and I'll just add this really quick, and you just click add. And it just takes a minute for it to add. And as soon as it's done, you've gotten that. Andrew is saying, can we set up a separate database for this, or does it have to be a WordPress database? So, Andrew, let me tell you, yes, it can be a separate database, but if it's on a cPanel, like let's say you've got Drupal, or for us to be able to publish using this, you're going to have a MySQL database. So when you say separate database, does it have to be WordPress? No, but you're going to, wherever you're hosting, I'm sure that you have some sort of database to be able to put your information in. If you don't have MySQL in any of the programs you're using, you're going to have to reach out to me separately, and we're going to have to see what we can do about that. So in essence, you're going to have set up your network name. If you wanted to add another domain, you could add it here, you could add it here, you could add it here. Some people will be able to very simply put in their domains right here, just in bulk, just as an example. And I'm going to show you an idea of one that's already done because I did it. This is a fake one, just so that you guys know. So you can see domain.com, SQL user, SQL password, WordPress database. As you do this, all that's going to happen is at the end, it's going to ask you if you want to test and confirm that network. Once you get the okay that you've tested and confirmed the network, which is a beautiful thing, you're going to be able to go back into the community. And I'm going to show you this because I'm bringing this new piece in, because this has been added. I think this is live today, where you can edit and review what you've already done to Dory's public network. But if you were to add a new campaign, so see this, it by default, it automatically says public. Right now, you will all just see public. But if we were to say serious student SEO, or if I was to say, let's say, so dog food, it was a dog sites or cat sites, whatever campaign, I can select a topic in this. Let's see, is there anything, I don't know. I'm just going to choose babysitting just because. And as soon as I hit private site, you can see that I now have something here. So when and again, I'm telling you that I'm going to give specific videos on each area, like I have here on this area, so that you will be able to start to be able to actually post articles to your own sites. So what's so cool about this, these pages again aren't live, but when Dory goes through her 7 steps, Keith talks about building links. You're learning how to actually create your own private blog networks. You're able to then start to build links exactly how you want without other people putting spammy stuff in. Every single thing that we've shown you, like when you click on the 500 site network linking, we have said over and over again, do not link to a money site. Do not link to a tier 1 site. It's just imperative that you not do that, because we're seeing what people are putting in there. I mean, there's just crappy links everywhere. But when you build your own site, you're going to be able to post articles anytime you want, and you're going to be able to do that based upon your own linking anchor. So remember, this whole piece about campaign linking that is so proprietary to what Dory does, that is different than anybody else, is it actually allows you to be able to then edit, have your own no follow links, put your own equations together of how you want to do it. So some people have said to me, well, Ann, when you build a PBN site, how many networks do you want to have? And I want to kind of hit this kind of from the get-go. If I was to, you can see here I have all of these different kind of like testing sites just to kind of show. So if I was going to build something and say out loud, okay, look, what is it that I exactly want to do? I mean, how do I want to segment my private blog network? I would look at it all based on themes. So I want to decide how I'm going to put my sites together. Remember, sometimes less links are more. So if I used Keith's model and I went from Web 2.0 sites and just various links that are out on the internet, including public blog networks, I might link some of those to my private blog network, so that when I link out from my private blog network, I know exactly where it's going and I stay in control. So I wanted everybody to kind of see a piece of this, because the goal is to release this tomorrow with all the videos there. And then at the end, we'll test and confirm networks, and it's pretty amazing. When you can then create your own campaign management to be able to put it in your own private videos, your own private PBNs, all this means is this is how you're grouping your networks together. So if this is Ann's test, but if that was on dogs and this was on cats and this was on birds, what ends up happening is it actually will say how many times we want to build. Each time the numbers go up here, so it tells me how many sites are in here. If I had 25 dogs, 25 cats, 25 birds, this would be 100 sites. So if I put an article in about animals, I could post it to all of these sites. I could say, hey, I want to post one article. This right here says this equals 12. So that means in all of my testing sites, all of those sites equal 12. If I wanted to say, hey, I want to post each article 12 times, I would put that one article on each one of my sites. So I know it's a little heavy, and once we release it, I will have the videos up, but I really wanted everybody to see it so that you can kind of get a feel for what this is. The goal, I think, that Dory has been talking about is to eventually be able to release this. There's lots of different people that give you the ability to post and create private blog networks. And the thing that is unique about what Dory has is the ability to manage them, because you're actually able to change your linking structure. So by working with link density and some of her other tools, it just all kind of works together. Let's see here. I've got some questions coming in. I'm going to answer them as they come. Social media. Andrew, I don't know what you mean by that, but I can tell you on the public blog side, I always link to things like social media or YouTube or places that it doesn't matter if a majority of links come in, because I would link Facebook to a powerful a site that I'm wanting to have more powerful links. So if I put 1,000 links to Facebook on one link from Facebook to a money site, or one link from Facebook to a tier 2 site, and link that tier 2 site to my money site, that's how you start to really build those tiers up. Andrew's saying, how many sites can we add to this list? So, Andrew, let me answer that separately. You can add as many as you want. I guess I should probably really think that through. Like, could you have 1,000 sites? I would say that you probably could, because you're just giving that to us from a management standpoint. But I will tell you, I don't think that it's wise. And let me tell you why. If you want to really kind of theme how you put articles out, like let's just say you have a general theme, you have an animal theme, you have an electronics theme, and you're deciding how you're wanting to build your power, right? You would kind of want to separate that out so that within the network, you're choosing where you want to post your articles. So like right here, when I'm actually building whatever my campaign is, this is the campaign where I'm going to put how many no follow links, where I want my links to go, etc. And if I'm going to put it in 4 different categories, again, I'm just going to use animals because it's easy: cats, dogs, birds, goats. I can write one animal article and distribute it to all of them. If I had 100 sites in dogs and I wanted to do a dog article, all I'd have to do is click dogs. So I think it's going to be better for you to think about how you're going to segment from a hosting standpoint, etc. Let's say, for example, you spread out your dog sites over unique IP addresses and you had 100 unique IPs. You could create a dog network under here, and every single time you create a new network, when you want to post, this is just what it is, and you'll always be able to have that. So Andrew, I hope I hit what you were talking about. Butch is saying, I've missed some of the boot camps. Are these recorded so I can go back and catch up? Yes, Butch, they are. Dory's kind of built on them. The ones that Jeff and some of the ones that I did, there's beginner boot camps. I think there's some intermediate stuff in those. And then the other boot camps that are intermediate, I think there's going to be 4 left after this, have gotten progressively more detailed into Dory's 7 steps. And does this leave any footprints, is what Drew is asking. So, Drew, I love that question. And I got to answer it in kind of a wordy way. Because, when you think of a footprint, there's many ways that you can leave one. So let's kind of talk that through. Actually, such a great question. I think I'll bring up a let me see here. Let me bring up a new file and we'll just open. Hold on one second. I'm going to create a new text edit file so people can kind of walk through this since I'm recording this. So Drew's question was, let's make this super big so everybody can see footprints. As soon as I think of footprints, I don't know if y'all remember that thing where people are walking on the beach and it's a very nice thing, footprints in the sand. Anyway, you can leave a footprint at the registrar. And this is one place that, as we've gone through this, we've talked about, do you keep it public? Do you keep it private when you register it? There's people debate that. If you use a unique email address and you create that email address, how many email addresses should you have that owns one domain? So there are some questions that you need to ask yourself of where you would look at leaving a footprint. The second one is going to be at your actual host. And this is going to be how many sites you're going to put on an individual IP address, etc. From a PBN standpoint, I'm going to say public blog network. You can leave footprints based on where you link to. That's how come we always say, and I will say it again, do not link to money sites. Now, Dory's done that before. Dory's linked to money sites and she's had good experiences and bad. Some people who have taken POE, their money site is their Facebook page or their Amazon page. I don't think that there's any problem linking to those because it's very hard to crash and burn those because they're not hosted and at an individual thing. But what we're really talking about here is private blog networks. And when you look at a private blog network and you want to say, how are you going to leave a footprint? Well, I think that's going to look at, you have to look at how all of these different things are from the beginning. People say, if I put duplicate content up, is it going to be caught? It will be caught. Google doesn't like duplicate content. Some people say, so Ann, should I put up a new, should I spin content? We're going to be releasing a course by Chris. He did, an unbelievable job of really talking about how spun content can work. Google really believes in using unique content. Justin Anderson builds sites all the time without using unique content. I think anybody who puts out a press release understands that there's duplicate content in many ways. It's going to depend on how you build your links and how you do that, and how many duplications of articles you're going to put with the linking. So I'm just going to kind of minimize this really quick and go back to one of the lovely things that Dory did when she talked about creating these campaigns. Remember this, when you come down here, you're saying over here about variant linking. We go into a very specific piece on this. And what we do is if you wanted to link to dog food, and you also wanted to lead to feeding dogs, these two things are so similar that she's got some variant linking in there that it will actually rotate the keywords so that the linking looks more natural in how your article is. So if you enter click here as an anchor phrase in your link campaign, because you have to visit our Facebook page, click here, in your article text, you want click here to be linked. Without variant linking, if you decide to change your article, you have to go through some other things. So I would really look at some of these things because I think when it comes to a footprint, you need to be aware of where you can leave one, how you're going to leave one, and what level of risk you're going to take. And Keith really covers that well in his course. I wish so much that he was here right now. Julian says, can the PBN sites, dog, birds, for example, also be money sites at the same time, or should they be used to boost our money sites? Julian, dude, I love the way you think. Dory and I think about this topic differently, and I'll tell you, she would say, my guess is she would say, not to really, to look at those sites as maybe throwaway sites and to not treat a money site the same way, because you want to build links to your money site, but that's the one that's most important. Now, for myself, I make a pretty good living from lead gen as one of my revenue sources. And so in my PBNs, it's not the way that I build a site. I always build a site the right way. So for example, you will have some guys who build PBNs who say, don't you ever put analytics on there. That's a footprint. Don't you ever try to get it in Webmaster Tools. Don't do anything with Google. Well, happens to have sites that rank for very arbitrary things, but I put phone numbers on those sites. And because the phone numbers generate revenue for me, when I link out from them, I'm very careful. However, I build them to rank and I build them to manage so that I can push other sites up. So I would say traditionally a private blog network is used to boost links to your money site. If they rank, that's a great thing, but it is not usually how a PBN is built. Okay, Julian, I hope I answered that okay. It would probably help to have linking schematic pop up to visualize where your links are going. This is from Gaynor. I don't understand a linking schematic where your links are going. So it's interesting that you say that, because there isn't a linking schematic and we don't have one, and that's not how that would be. I've brought up Dory's images before. Let's see if I can just SEO nitro.com, I think is the site. But she has some pretty good let's see if I can find her. Let's see if I can show you some of her links. So see, like Gaynor, she'll have, like, she talks about it by showing different little things. Like this is a great example of how she'll say how you build this. The point is to have this link be super powerful. So she talks about how to do this, and then she's giving you your tools for this. But the thing about a schematic, and I'm going to go back into this, and I know this is a little heavy, so I'm just going to apologize, because if this is something that's new for you, it's really hard to wrap your head around. But when you're in POE and you're looking at, let me just go to do a quick review and edit on a campaign. Let me see if I've got a. Let me just give you an example of one that. So see right here, you can already see where your links are going. When you've used the link density tool, the whole purpose is to know what your competitors are, so that you're putting the percentage of where you want your links to go. So this is the best way to actually be able to see that. And I'm just trying to see. I've done so many tests that it's a little hard for me to show this. So see, it just depends on where you want your links to go. This is all in the public network, and then you'll be in charge of that in the private network. Lewis is saying everyone used to talk about duplicate content penalties. Is that no longer an issue? If it is, then why is adding the exact same article to multiple sites a benefit? Lewis, I love you. It is an issue without question. And if you can do spun content, that's an issue too. If Google catches you, because they want it to be as natural as possible. But if I was to do a search right now in Google for something as simple as best SEO practices, right? And I go to news. As soon as I go to news, most of the time you're going to see all of the latest articles, and many of these are repeats of where they've been printed many times because a press release is picked up over and over again. So some people will say, well, gosh, if I'm going to do this, somebody will copy like search engines. They will just rewrite this and reference this. So there's lots of different things on how to write content, Lewis. I will tell you that all PBNs usually get content and they repurpose it over and over again. And that's just how it is. Multiple BBN sites on a single host, but none of them link to the same money site. Money sites are all hosted on different hosts, but not on the same host as any PBNs that point to them. So Gaynor, I agree with that, but that is one way to do that. I don't ever host more than 10 to 20 sites on one host. It's just my preference. I have many servers that I pay for, and I don't host more than that because that's how I was taught actually by Dory. I think that the most that she'll ever go up to is 20 sites, and she always wants them to be different niches. Google, when they came out, if all of the stuff about cloak hosting and things like that is about hiding a site in plain sight. So if you had a site about dogs, a site about cats, a site about bicycles, a site about electronics all on one host, is going to be much more preferable than if you had 5 sites about dogs on one host. Again, Gaynor, this is my opinion. I don't want to say that I am the master at this. I just want to explain, as you're building your own hosts, we're not asking you where you host. We're asking you your SQL information. So you only need to tell us about your hosting if you're going to change, because it will affect how you move this information. I hope that was helpful. Anne, what was that new membership site software you were trying to remember in a past webinar? Do you remember it now? Oh, Alan, new membership site software. I do, because Onik used it, and it wasn't, hold on, it was WordPress membership sites, and it wasn't WP. Okay, Wishlist is one. It wasn't MemberPress. iThemes a lot of people use. It's none of these. I'm really sorry, Alan. I've got to figure it out. Ink Themes, DIY. I will figure it out and let you know. Will you Facebook me, and I'll find that out and let you know. When can we get Chris's stuff? Dory and I are talking about that, when we're going to release Chris's stuff. eRock's information for local has so much to do with local SEO and true link building to help rank a site. Keith's information is very intense. So we're looking at how we're going to do that. It's definitely going to be within the next week, TR, and we'll let you know. As soon as I know, I'll let you know. Fresh Press, maybe that is it. Gardner is saying Fresh Press. Hold on one second. Let me see if that's it. Fresh Press. It's looking for a French press. Freshly pressed. No, that's not it. I'll figure it out, Alan, and I'll get you know. He says thanks, no problem. So Drew was saying, I missed the first part of this webinar. What exactly is the benefit of this new tool? Drew, the benefit of this new tool is that you're able to put your own sites in and start creating your own private blog networks. So what happens is if you want to add articles and do it based on how you're going to go for your linking strategy to rank according to link density. You're able to put in your own websites that you have, and then you're able to build your own campaigns and then publish those to your own. You're able to publish those to your own private blog network versus the public. Right now, everybody only has the public. So as soon as we release this, you're going to be able to put them on your private. So I hope, Drew, that explains it. It's a really big thing for people who are into SEO, and there's a million people that say, join my private blog network, I'll manage it for you. But this is a way that you can build it yourself. And what was the recommended mobile optimizer you liked? Again, I couldn't find it in the recordings. Oh, you guys are killing me. Mobile optimizer. I mean, there is for, let's see here, Duda, is that, yeah. So Duda Mobile is a place that will just create, it's a way that you guys can make money and just, I mean, I did this on a couple of old sites that were HTML sites. There's many ways to skin that cat with WordPress because there's so many mobile plugins. But I want to tell you very clearly that any website that you build now should just be responsive, and you shouldn't need to worry about that. And if you want to know if your site works, Google Mobile Tester. This is the Google. So like if you just put in cobeachseo.com, if you just put that in, Google will tell you if you're working and how that, actually fits in being mobile tested. But I want to say, guys, we're going a little off subject. I'm going to stay with the questions. I promised you I would, but the whole purpose of this is to really talk about PBNs. We'll let that run for a minute. Paul is saying that it's member mouse. I don't think that was it. So see, awesome. This page is mobile friendly. So see, Google will tell you what it is and how that actually works and looks on a phone. So this is a good place for you guys just to test, is your site mobile friendly. Duda Mobile is for antiquated sites. Like if you, for example, want to just build a mobile site, or you have 100 sites that are not, you don't know how to install plugins, or you have, old HTML sites that to go in and really edit the CSS is too much, you can just do this in 2 seconds. It's pretty affordable. Gaynor is talking about really having some sort of mind map to visualize what you have done. I love the concept. I don't know how to make it a reality, Gaynor, but I will talk to Dory about that. Sherry, Module 1 is your answer. That's what you need to look at, Module 1. Roger says, my sites are all owned by my name on different IPs. Is there a way to transfer them to a different name, or this not a problem? So Roger, there is a way to transfer them, but I don't know how many and what that would look like, and sometimes that could be a problem in itself. One of the things that I like about GoDaddy, and this is one of the things Dory taught me, is that when you're at GoDaddy, let me just see if I can show you this. Let's go to GoDaddy profiles. One of the things that I like about them is you can delete preset profiles in the domain manager. So what this means is, like, let's just say that you really own it. You can say that somebody else owns it. And it's a way to almost be an account administrator and then have other people own domains. Other people own domains like your dog, your cat, different ways, but it always comes back to you. So, Roger, I'm not going to say to move them. I own hundreds and hundreds of sites in my name, but so does my mom and my dog and my cat, my best friend, and some of my employees. So you want to just be aware of that. And I would say look at that going forward. Most people who have huge PBN networks, I think I own 3,000 domains and I only have about maybe 600 of them live. So I think that, as you're becoming a domainer, if you're looking at doing this from an SEO standpoint, you have to decide how you're going to approach these things. Remember, everybody has different approaches to this. Let's see here. Drew's asking a long question. He posted in the forum. He didn't get an official answer about analyzing your competition and using anchor metrics. I get how to do it, but I don't understand what to do when one of the anchor texts is the URL of the competitor. Okay, let me just show Drew exactly. Let's just go into that, Drew. So when you're in link density, which is I believe what you're asking me, is so there's two ways to look at this. When you do a domain audit and you're looking at a competitor, so just as an example, let's see what I've got here on some history so that we can just do it really quick. Okay, so look, I looked at Microsoft, right? And Microsoft gives me, this is how many links they have, and I can remove them or not. Is it available? Is it not? I mean, this is just, testing stuff in my specific deal. So as I'm going down and I'm looking at how many links they have, this is really great information, right? Because it allows me to kind of see exactly where somebody is so that I can know what kind of thing I'm going after, how many backlinks I'm looking for, etc. When I go into link density, Drew, and I say, okay, listen, I'm going to look at this domain. We'll look at this one right here, beyondtalk.net, just as an example. And this tells me this is their base linking metric. And I can go down and I can look at this and I can say, oh, this is how many links they have to their homepage. This is their links to their internal page, right? See how this says this? But when I go to the anchor metrics on this tab up here, it starts to break it down for me. And this is kind of the brilliant stuff that Dory just freaks me out because she lives with this stuff. It's like the stuff that just like, I don't know, I like cute dog pictures. I'm a drummer. I like good rock and roll music. I'm an SEO person. I like SEO stuff, but Dory, this is the kind of stuff that just makes her a little gaga, a little high. It's super sexy to her, And so she's kind of built her life around looking at, okay, look, if 8% are empty, we know that this is probably going to be an image. Right here, this is the anchor text. Free this, I don't even want to try and say it. So he's got 100, if this was my competitor, they've got 113 domains with 918 links that make up for 7% of all of their links. So you can see these are tiny metrics, but look, here's 50% of this person's backlinks. My competitor, 50% of their backlinks. And this is what it tells me right here. This is what it is, but there's so many random links that it's like, oh my goodness. So if you were to export this and really do some research with this, you would be able to decide how you want to build your linking strategy. So this is where you get it. And so when you change this to your homepage URL, the whole piece about this, Drew, is to be able to say, okay, these are the links coming into this person's site. 50% come from this anchor text. So if you go back over to where I showed you Dory's example, and you were to have anchor text that had all of those keywords going to these A sites, then these A sites going to these B sites, and some of those B sites coming here, in essence, this particular anchor metric, they have tons and tons of links coming into their site. You could have 197 links if this was your category coming into your site. And would that be the best for you? Right now, Google is saying less is more. But if you needed to beat this competitor, you would need this many links to outdo them. I hope, Drew, I'm answering this. And also, probably more important, say if the others matrix is 45 and I have 100 different anchor texts listed, you set the tool for 45%. Okay, so how this would work, how can 100 different anchor texts from others fit in a 700-page article? So Drew, how that works very simply is, I'm just going to give an example, and I'm going to be dramatic for points. So everybody, please just kind of bear with me. I'm kind of getting ready to roll out some bullshit here. So if I was to write a real article, I might say, as I want to lose weight, I look for the best weight loss products, and I come upon many home pages that have signups on them to capture my email address. But what I really want to know is where I can buy the best Garcinia cambogia, because I know that there's common myths that talk about other objectives that are beyond how to lose weight. And so I would start to look at these things and I would see, okay, really 10 and above, these are really the main sites. And I would start to maybe then put in different articles on my Web 2.0s to kind of get these. It's not one article, it's setting up a linking strategy, Drew. So I hope that helped you. And if not, I'm trying really hard to answer it. Andrew says, just to run down the structure of a private blog network, we have 5 well-built sites within a niche. Good for you, Andrew. And post articles to those sites. The links from those sites should point to our social media or Web 2.0 properties. Is that about right? If we have 5 well-built sites within a niche and post articles to those sites, the links from those sites should point to our social media or Web 2.0 properties. If your Web 2.0, like if you could post to Facebook, that'd be great, or to YouTube, because those things already linked to you, Andrew, that's awesome. But let's say that it's kind of a spammy site that you just put all kinds of things on, or it's a WordPress site in the sky. You might be posting to Tumblr or something like that, and you just want to put a link out to one of your not really well-built sites that links to your well-built site, that links to your Facebook page, that links to your actual money site. Just kind of, I'm going to leave this picture up for a minute. I hope I helped you, Andrew, but yes, that is absolutely correct. Just to be sure I understand, we should never host a PBN site on the same host as our money site, and we should use a fake name and different email for each PBN. Is that right? Julian, there isn't a right or wrong about that. I try to not host a real money site with too much else around it. That's me. Some people will put 4 different niches on one host because they're really well-built money sites. And use a fake name and different email for each PBN. Is that right? Again, I have many of my PBNs in my name with a real email address, and many of them I don't. It's not about being fake. It's about being cautious. It's about deciding how you want to set your own footprint. None of us can predict what Google will or won't do. Some people will answer that an emphatic yes. Julian, that's exactly how you do it. And other people will say, you know what, I'm not that scared of it. I do it in different ways. Like I shared with you, most of my sites I build to rank, and I'm very careful of how I post to them. And then some sites are just complete spammy sites that I put up, but I don't put a lot of linking out, but I put articles there because I want them to rank so that I can get leads generated from them. So Gaynor is saying, just sounds like a cool idea. All linking makes my head spin once I've got multiple PBNs with 10 or more sites and hundreds of Web 2.0s. Now, Gaynor, I want to tell you that's why Keith in his particular piece really talks about Money Robot. He talks about how he builds his PBNs. He talks about how he sets up GSA and gets millions of links like that. I mean, he talks about that, and he really shows you how to do that. And he builds all of these spammy links to some pretty good Web 2.0s in here. And then his money sites that he uses for his PBN, then he links out. And I understand, I agree with you. It is a cool idea, and it blows your mind away when you really start thinking about how to do it. Sherry, not private blogs module. No, Sherry, I'm telling you, Jeff Lenny talked about and specifically gave how to do launch jacking, and it's module 1. So I hope that helps, because that's what he does. Alan, for PBNs, I'm a little confused about how to judge if an old domain and link profile is the right niche. Is there a close to objective way to judge this, or is this something we can fudge by shaping the content? My example is a Save Dolphin site. Put content up about writing about saving animals, and then go to a site about writing. Okay, so that's going to be another bonus that we're going to give about how to build old domain sites. But let me just get out of this and go and show you guys something. I'm pulling my site away just for a minute because I'm going to log in to my GoDaddy site and show you guys something. Let me just log in really quick, because 1, 6, 7. I have a million sites and I don't want to show everything and how I log in and blah, blah, blah. But the thing about it, Alan, is I don't think, so some people, the way that they would go about what you're saying is they would go find a powerful, powerful site. Let me just go to auctions, domain discount club, manage. Oh, GoDaddy auctions. Okay, I'm coming back in. Can everybody see my site again? So if I was to type in dolphins, DOLPHIN, just as an example, and I wanted to say not by time left, but by price, and I say, okay, let's do something different. Let's go golf. Let's go advanced search. I'm going to say contains the word dogs. And I'm going to say on here that I want it to be a .com, and that I'll select any type, and the domain age, I want it to be at least 4 years old. Okay, just as this is an example. There's a million places to do this. So something has to be at least 4 years old. And now I'm going to separate it by least expensive. So here's dogbuns.com that I can buy for $5. I have 17 hours and 53 minutes. If I was to take this site and then I go to the Wayback Machine, and even though we already know that it's at GoDaddy right now, that's where it's parked, and I want to look at this site, Alan, we can see that it was first registered in 2011, Dog Buns. So I want to say, okay, well, what did the site look like? It's going to go back and it's going to tell me this is what it looked like then. This is what, so has it always just been a parked site? I probably wouldn't go for a site like this. That's me. Dory does this. She uses Fresh Drop and some other things, and she'll go back and she'll look at sites and she'll say, so these are views. So here's one that's got 28 views. Sometimes it'll say how many offers. Here's one, age 8, views 28. Let's see here. I'm going to go for Ale Dogs just because it's small. It's 4 years old. Okay, so we'll try the same thing again. And what you're going to see is some people would automatically go back and they would say if they could get a site that was a site, they would recreate it exactly how it was. They would recreate the whole site, and they would say, okay, well, once I've got this, I want to be able to, okay, it's not letting me do this. They would recreate the whole site, Alan, and then they would continue posting to it. They would see what links were there. Most importantly, they would go put it in something like Dory's tool and see how many links link to that site. Because if you buy a site, your dolphin site, and you put it in domain audit and you see that it has 50 links to it, just 50, but then you look at the quality of those 50 links, well, you're going to want to keep it. You're going to want to rebuild it. You're going to want to find out the exact page that it links to. So if you automatically own a site that's got 50 links to it, what a great addition to your private blog network. I hope that I answered that, Alan. I thought I needed PBNs and links for jacking. Sherry, you need links for launch jacking without question. You can immediately go post links to your social stuff in Dory's public blog network. If you want to build a private blog network, this is Keith's course talks about doing that and how to build links, period. And then there's ways that you can build Web 2.0 properties if you don't want to build that. So I hope that answers that. Lewis, do you think that using Justin's bullet viral plugin and theme is a good way to build a network? Well, I think that it's an easy way to build a site that's going to gain traffic, Lewis. I kind of showed you guys this before, that site that Golf Pro Strategies. So out of 11 million, this is a site that I had. Dory asked me to go, she wanted me to just do a test with some of the stuff, of the bonuses that were given away. And this site had been hacked, and I hadn't touched it for maybe, I don't know, a really long time. And so I went in, and I've shown you guys this before. The thing that I like about Justin's site is how he brings it in. This site for me, look, I think that it looks nice. He does it in his own themes. I didn't even do that. I just got his plugin, and it makes it look like I've got this bitchin' site. He gets most of it from BuzzFeed, and it reconnects it. Is that a good way? I always try and build a site the best way possible by having privacy terms. I always like to have a sticky post. I like to make it as theme-based as possible. And then I like to post to it often. You're going to have to decide, Lewis, how you want to make that happen. I would probably put some original articles, maybe have a 3-page site, 4-page site, and then use this in certain areas. Gaynor, Dory rocks, enough said. Hey, Gaynor, thank you. Just so everybody knows, I'm not Dory. This is Ann. Dory isn't here, but, her stuff does really rock. Paul says, love figuring out the recipe. Paul, can I tell you this? Do you know that that's the key? I think most people who really get into SEO love figuring out the recipe, because they take on clients and they look back and they say, okay, look, whose ass do we need to kick and why? And, at SEO Rockstars last year, one of the things that we talked about was negative SEO. And some people really get into killing other people's sites instead of just building their own. Dory and I both stay away from negative SEO because it just doesn't feel right in our hearts, but we like figuring out the recipe and going after it too. You're welcome, Drew. Gaynor, I'm seeing what you're laying down. He's asking for visualization, and I'm going to talk with Dory about that, because she has this this anchor metrics thing that does this kind of visually, how this comes in. So I'm wondering if there's a way that we can get the programmers in our private blog networks to give you a visual. I just need to sit with that for a minute, and we'll figure that out. The membership site plugin you were looking into, is it BuddyPress? No, BuddyPress isn't a membership site. I own Wishlist, and let me see if I can, I'm sorry, Andrew, I'm going to have to come back to you on that. Alan says, I'm recreating a site while you speak. I've already been buying at GoDaddy auction, and I can find few old sites that are on spot in my niche, but I don't know how much is too far. Does it have to be right on? So, Alan, let me tell you this. We do have a bonus that we're going to give you where a guy talks about that and how to recreate them and do that. What I want to tell you is yes and no. It has to be in your niche based on where you put it. So let's go back to Dory's piece right here. If it's a B site that you're really trying to build, you're going to want that to be pretty niche theme because it protects your money site. These A sites, it's not what B says about your money site. It's what A says about B that counts. So remember that. And I don't know. I think if you just get some powerful backlinks to a site that matters, I think that that's what's really cool. Dory did, I don't know, a private thing maybe 2 weeks ago where Eric Lanchers released a really cool product. Y'all might want to look at that. But yeah, Alan, I think that that's a good way to do that. How do you create a site? Is there a way to get the files? So, Roger, we're going to release something that tells you about that very, very soon. And the answer is yes and no. So just like how, if I was to go to any site, right, and let's just go back to GoDaddy and let's just take, K9 Family of Dogs, or let's see here. Do I still have up the Wayback Machine? Wayback Machine. So if I go here, just so that we can see this, because this I don't know if it's even been picked up yet. So everybody knows that this was my site. Oh, see, it doesn't have this page archived. So let's see if there's one that is archived. Let's try CNN.com. Come on, that's breaking news. Okay, so you guys can see that this site, just look, if you guys ever get some black like this, you just want to buy it. But I'm just going to go look at this one, if it'll let me. September 9th. I'm just wanting to look back. And so on June 1st, 2012, it shows me every single thing that was here. So if I was to go back and look, it had 37,864 captures. So it's going to be hard for me to go back and get everything. And this is a very dramatic example. But yeah, you're going to want to try and rebuild every single site. As much content as you can that is link worthy. But the most important thing is going to be the naming convention. So if you want to click on this, so see right up here, this is CNN.com/U/S/. So if you do a backlinks profile, Roger, and you see that this page has links, you want to have this page when you buy that old site. So I hope that that was helpful and that I answered what it was that you were talking about. Okay. So Sherry is saying, I studied Module 2, which is on launch jacking, but there's nothing in there on the SEO side of things, as in PBN links, building and configuring website, as in where to put your posts you set up to say how to link the phrases you write within other sites. As in the technical side of things, where do I study those? Plus, I do not know how to use Dory's PBN or which module is Keith's trading. So Sherry, you're just going to have to go through the modules in order, I think, to learn how to do internal linking, which Jeff does. There's a lot of people that talk about, first, how to get reviews. DK talks a little bit about that. Greg and Erock both talk about on-page optimization, as do I, in how to set up a site. You want to get your internal linking down, and then you can set up your social sites and use Joy's public network to link to those social sites. And learning how to get backlinks, I can see that somehow you're not understanding, and I think that if you watch, Keith's was released yesterday, and I think that's a good way to really start. Julian says, what is the best use for an age domain with a great trust flow we have bought? Use it as a 301 redirect to our money site or as a private PBN to then link to our money site? Julian, dude, I hope you're going to come to the SEO Rockstars. You ask great questions. You know, there's a lot of talk about this topic. What is best? What is the best use for that? And my answer to that, Julian, would be it depends on how you use a PBN. What would be best? So you guys remember when I interviewed Susan, and she had that free review site, but what happened for her is her site got penalized. So what she ended up doing is just doing a full 301 redirect to a new page, and it made her new page just shoot through the moon. So I think that that's something that you got to really, really kind of think about. I don't think that there's a right or wrong way. I probably wouldn't do a 301 redirect. Julian Ann wouldn't do it. Stephen Floyd would probably do it. Susan would do it. Dory, I don't know. I wouldn't do a 301 redirect unless the site had a problem. And if I could rebuild it and use it to link out to multiple other sites, I would probably do that. Okay. Julian, did you hook up this golf site to social? No, I have not. Niall, thank you. Are you guys trying to remember Optimize Press? Oh my God, you guys are so funny. You can't let go of this membership site thing. Let me see if I can find it one more time. I'm looking to see if my tech guy's around. This is Profit. Let's see, it was members. Dot. This is the site, and let's see if I can figure out WP login. Let's see if we can just look at the source and see if we can get it. Oh, is there anything about the theme? Is there anything about the theme that I can get, that I can get, that I can get? Sorry, guys. I'm going to just have to come back to you. I wish that I could just tell you, but I'm not seeing it. Sorry. As soon as I figure it out, I'll post it. You rock and drum. Yeah, Roger, I am a drummer for many, many years. Sherry, can I do this in 3 weeks? The launch, I want to jack. What I can tell you, Sherry, is I have seen many people launch jack very, very quickly. The best way that I've seen them do it without using PBNs is by doing it with social, doing a little bit of advertising and writing great articles. For PBNs with old domains, can you create a link page that ends in HTML if you are using WordPress? For example, if the backlink is domain.com/authors, can I just make a WordPress page? So that's a great question, Alan, and the answer is no, you can't. There's 2 ways to do that. WordPress will go into, if you put that on the root, you can also create an HTML file that you have, that you can put a page on the root that is /HTML that's like a quasi site that is HTML and WordPress. But what I would do in a situation like that, that's a time that I would use a 301, and I would go to my HT Access, and wherever I'm going to put my 301 files, I would do a permanent 301 for that page, and I would redirect it to the new PHP page in WordPress. Okay, Alan, I hope that's understanding. I hope that was good. Okay, it's 4:15. Let's get your questions in. We're just trying to help you. Andrew, I love that. I can't find it, but I'm gonna come off the grid over here, and I'm just gonna look one more time to see if I can go to this WordPress before we hang up. WordPress. Come on. It definitely wasn't a plugin. I know that for sure. It was an actual theme. And I was told that it's really great, but I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I'm letting you down here, but I just don't have it. And I'm looking at tons of them that are on the market, and I'm looking at all of these different ones, and it doesn't seem to just come up in 2 seconds. So maybe it's not that good, the one that I was told about. As soon as I find it, though, I promise I'll come and let everybody know. Yep, not finding it. Let me try best paid. Yeah, still not seeing it. I mean, you would think that clearly it can't be that good if I'm having such a hard time finding it. Watch it be one of the ones that you guys already said. Anyway, I'll figure it out and let you know. Okay, let's see here. And last but not least, thanks. How to do that? Where with social? Where do I learn from? Do you mean paid advertising? Is the 5 to 10 articles just tells us to write via iWriter enough with no PBNs? Well, Sherry, what I can tell you is when I did this site for the class, I did let's just, I'll just show you guys this. I'm logged in, so let me log out really quick. So, and I'm going to do an incognito window, file, new incognito window, and I'm just going to look up CO Beach SEO. Now this, Sherry, I want you to know that I built the site to rank for this. I do have some links coming in now, but this right here is a result of social, and you can see, when we started the course, the site didn't rank on the page. And so as you can see now, this is social, this is YouTube, this is Yelp. So this isn't me. This is my Twitter page. So you can start to see different people are ranking now for this exact term. So I think that you have to decide what it is that you want to rank for, and you go about it. An example of that, Seal Beach SEO agency. So I rank for this, which is a different keyword, and you can see how this works. So you have to say to yourself, if you're going to rank for something and you wanted to, and I'll give you an example, I'm being really far out there. If you had a website called sherry.com, and on that website, you wanted to rank for, let's say you're going to launch Jack a Dory Friend product. You might write an article that says, the truth about Dory Friend. Dory Friend, the truth be told. And then you start writing a sincere article, and you'll start to see things. So like if I look up Page One Engine, because Jeff Lenny did that. So if I look up Page One Engine, let's see here, is this his site? No. Here's Jeff Lenny. So this is his site, and he named the page Page One Engine Review and Bonus. So even though this is all I did was put in page 1. This isn't Dory's site. This isn't Dory's site. This isn't. This is Dory's JV site. That's her site. But you can see how many people wanted to go and hijack her own site. So this was Jeff's site, and he's the one that taught the course. So if you click on this, he doesn't have anything to do with Dory. This is all about Jeff. And so you can see this is where he put his links. This is how he did this. Click on my affiliate link. This is what he talks about. So I would model it after this. So this just kind of gives you an example of how he wrote it and how he's ranking on that. So I hope that that's helpful. Let's see here. Let's get through. The thought of burning a domain with good age and trust flow just for a 301 redirect seems foolish, but then again, it's passing juice. Just as if it were a PBN site, it just limits for any additional linking if you will build the site back up for your PBN, right? Gainer, yes, but I want to tell you that some people got hit. Like, let's say that they had a money site and it really ranked, and it ranked really well. And so Alan was talking about he had a great site, and he bought it and it had good age and it had all of these things. Should he rebuild it or 301 redirect it? So I have friends that really got spanked with all of the Google algorithm updates. So their sites went away, but they still own them. They just didn't rank in Google, but they had built tons and tons of links. So if they let their domain go and somebody bought it, should they rebuild it? Or if they looked at it, those people chose just to 301 redirect that to a brand new site. So I hope that that's helpful. Sal, we're going to as soon as I'm done, I'm going to stop reposting it, and then I'm going to stop talking, and then I'll get it to Julie to post tomorrow. Okay, a bit off topic. Can we get assistance with finding a niche to build a business around? The affiliate marketing module doesn't really cover it in detail. Finding a niche to build a business around, Lewis, I'll tell you, it's an interesting thing. I think you're going to have to look at launch jacking and decide what kind of business you want. E-Rock talks about local. You and I have talked about local a little bit. You got to decide if you're going to do launch jacking, affiliate marketing, and whatever that is, you build a site around that. So I will look at that. Sheila says, dinner's here. Thanks as always. I'm going to say, if a site is penalized, can it really help much in a 301 redirect? Jared, it can't help much if it's been penalized. It's the link juice that you're looking at 301ing. So imagine if you have a site that was penalized. It's not ranking anywhere in Google, but it had a ton of links to it, and those links were pretty good links. And you just say, hey, any links that were going to here, just go to this new site, and the new site is a pretty decent site. We've had people tell us that they've done really, really great with that. So guys, with all of that, I hope to release all this stuff tomorrow. And then we'll do a release when everything's there. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Talk to you later. I'm going to try and get out of here. It's 4:23 my time. So wherever you are, I hope you have a great evening, and thanks as always for your time. Talk to you later. Bye.